Hello, welcome everyone. I apologize. I didn't even know I had it on mute. Give me just a second here. As always, how is everyone doing? Give me just a second here. Is everyone ready for the weekend? I am. I am. It's been so busy lately, but I'm very grateful. Hey, welcome you all. Thank you all for coming to Bible study tonight. Tonight we're gonna be talking about fear. We're going to be talking about fear. We're going to be coming for fear and how it can kind of impact our life more than anything, how it can hold us back a little bit. But that's okay. Okay. So I think I've kind of I was on it today, y'all. I dropped the link in several places a little bit earlier today, so I think we should be good here. I'm definitely getting better about that, so we can get this thing started on time. Welcome to all of those who are tuning in. Hey, priestess. Got my drink as always. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get started tonight because I did go ahead and get the link out. But for those of you who are just tapping in, we are going to be talking about fear tonight, y'all. In the words of Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, I ain't never scared. Or is that Chroma? I don't know. But anyways, I ain't never scared. No, realistically, before I even get started, I want to say that, we're human. And of course, there's going to be things that we are afraid of from time to time. But I also want to just talk about, why we shouldn't let fear stifle us, why we shouldn't let fear stop us dead in our tracks, right? Whenever I think about some of the most groundbreaking individuals in our history, I do also think about I'm sure that they were afraid at some point, right? I'm sure that Rosa Parks was afraid. She probably was scared to sit in that spot, but she did it anyways, right? Sometimes I think about our ancestors and the things that they have gone through. If you pay attention to me at all, I'm always talking about, my elders or the people that kind of helped shape me into who I am now. But oftentimes I like to think, I think back to my grandma, my great grandma, and some of the things, some of the stories that they used to tell me about their lives and growing up in the South. My family is from the South. My great grandma was from the South. Even my grandma picked cotton. My grandma had to drop out of school and help pick cotton. So sometimes I think and I reflect back on some of the stories and some of the experiences that I've had in my life, and I think about what would have happened if they let fear stop them from doing what they were supposed to be doing. So that's one of the reasons why I chose to talk about fear tonight, because I know that this is like a normal, human emotion. I know that it's something that a lot of us deal with, but, I do want to encourage everybody who's coming in tonight to understand that we don't want to let fear have a place in our life. We don't want to let fear stop us from doing what we are called to do, or whatever it is that you want to do, and in true Hoodoo fashion, I'm going to first of all open up with a Bible verse that I really love. I've used it as an affirmation sometimes to overcome, feelings of anxiety or feelings sometimes of fear, right? And this is coming from 2 Timothy verses 1 and 7. And for God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind. So for me, something that I have loved to do in my hoodoo practices is to use scriptures, not only because they are powerful, and we already know the history, we know that they hold a lot of ashe, and for me, these very same scriptures hold a lot of power. But one of the ways that I love to use scriptures is I also love to use them as affirmations. When you think about it, if you do come from some type of religious background where you have a religious text, these types of situations are what these religious texts are for when you are experiencing life, and for whenever you're going things, you have powerful things like this to draw on to help you on your journey, or help you in those moments where you're feeling lost or where you're questioning, what's going on. So this one right here is extremely, extremely powerful. I challenge you all to use it. Take a second, close your eyes and just really focus on the words. And let's get away from the Christianity version of what we think God is, right? Because we all need to figure out who God is for us and what God is for us, and have our own individual, unique connection to God, right? So let's move away, if that's what you're thinking, God. Once you have that understanding that we are all connected to God, we're going to understand that God hasn't given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind. Just those words in itself, just to know that you are divinely created, that you are divinely connected to the Creator, brings to me, it brings a certain level of calm. It brings calm to the situation, to know that I am here in this space at this time doing what I am supposed to be doing. And that is one of the most powerful ways that you can cast out fear. Because and I'll get into this later, but fear starts in the mind, but fear can manifest in other ways. So it's like important, you all, that we recognize fear for what it is, and don't let it stay, y'all. Don't let the fear stay. So I'm going to say this in the fancy way first, okay? Then I'm going to give you the hoodoo way. And we're just going to talk, very briefly about how fear can actually shape our lives. And when I say that, in the fancy or educational way to say this is, fear can interrupt processes in our brain that allow us to regulate emotions, read nonverbal cues, and other information that is presented to us. It can also cause us not to reflect before reacting, and it can also cause us not to act ethically. And what I am saying when I say that fear can cause us not to act ethically, you can do things, and I'm going to elaborate on this, but fear can cause you to act outside of your character sometimes, or, well, I won't say outside of your character, but fear can cause you to act off of emotion. There we go. Fear can cause you to act out of emotion, and sometimes you can get yourself in a lot of trouble just solely acting off of fear. And what I'll say is, like, it impacts our ability to think clearly. Sometimes fear can stir up a lot of emotions in us, and it can cause us to do, for real, just be out here acting crazy. So you really don't want to let fear have that hold on you like that. Fear can leave you susceptible to some really intense emotions. It could cause you to act impulsively, and all of these things can cause you not to make the correct or appropriate decisions. So with all being said, you don't want to dwell in fear. And as I talk, I'll also, I know you hear us say all the time, fear is low vibrational. Yeah, I completely get it. There are times as humans, especially on this path, that you are going to experience fear or being afraid. But now I'm going to explain that in the hoodoo way, okay? Fear can cause you, if it goes unchecked, it can cause an illusion, right? This means, in my opinion, that fear can literally blind us. Fear can literally blind us. This means that our vision is not clear, our head is not clear, and in this field, our head has to be clear. Our thoughts, our mind, it has to be as clear as possible. So that's one of the reasons why it's just really important to make sure that fear does not go unchecked, because fear can also manifest if you let it go long enough, you guys. Fear can turn into paranoia. It can turn into some form of paranoia. So that paranoia is not the right word for this, but like for me, I think of, hi, welcome. Yes, you all hit the like button on the way in. Go ahead and drop those pink flower emojis in the comments if this is resonating thus far. But so let me disassociate the word paranoia from this. But sometimes when I think of being blinded by emotions, I think about the Queen of Cups in reverse. Sometimes I feel like when the Queen of Cups in reverse comes up, sometimes her emotions can be a little bit too intense, or she can be blinded by emotion and not able to see things clearly. And not that card has the energy of fear or anything, but the fact that you're blinded by such intense emotions is the point that I'm trying to make. We have to be able to think clearly. We have to be able to have a clear head in order to be, in order to be in the field as a priestess or just helping other people. You need your own head to be clear first and foremost, right? And then just, outside of that, when it comes to fear, like, how are you going to help people fight their demons if you're scared of them? How are you going to help people fight their demons if you're scared of them? Or it's just kind of like that saying, I think I heard this from, but she made a good point, y'all. I think I heard this from Priestess Oshun K when she said, how are you going to be spiritual but scared of spirits? Exactly. Now, what I will say is, of course, like I said, I understand, because our practices have been demonized for so long, and they're still demonized. That and it's with an intent to instill fear in people about exactly what it is that we do in root work and conjure. I know a lot of people didn't like the movie Spell. I feel like it was entertaining, that's my personal opinion, but some things like that, movies like that do demonize what it is that we do. And if you don't have a higher level understanding or a higher knowledge of hoodoo, conjure, root work, voodoo, if you don't have an understanding of these beautiful practices, then it'll be easy to kind of fall into that I'm scared energy, or just being like afraid of what it is that we do, or being afraid of spirit. And that's just not, that's not the energy that we want in our lives. Like I said, I do get it, especially if you have really religious backgrounds. They teach you that a lot of things are witchcraft and that it is dangerous, and things like that. But, hey, I think that it's really important not to dwell in that energy, not to dwell in it. What I'll also say, and like I said, I know that you guys hear us say that fear is low vibrational all the time, and it is, but we're not just talking about like, oh, bad vibes, allegedly, because y'all know me, I be, found this in one of my books. I always have my book references, but allegedly fear is literally low vibrational. I think I read that fear vibrates around 100 hertz. Anger, guilt, shame, all of those emotions are emotions that vibrate underneath 200 frequency. right? So when I say low vibrational, I'm literally trying to put that into a numerical context for you to understand that, well, we already know, right, that every living thing, we have vibrations, and we know that when we feel certain ways and we do certain things, it puts out certain vibrations. Well, in terms of fear, it's like literally on the lower scale of frequency, while higher things, or things that we would consider higher vibration, vibrate around 500 on that scale. Like love is around, the last time I checked, was around 528 on the scale. So do you see that, dramatic difference, right, in terms of numbers? Now, there's lots of scales, so blah blah blah, or how that is measured in terms of frequency or hertz or whatever. But as you can see, fear is down here. And so whenever you hear people talk about, oh, you need to vibrate at a certain level to be able to receive, vibrate at a certain level to have this, or vibrate at it's not just a whole bunch of, it's literally almost like it's a science. We know that what we do is a little bit of science. Anyways, so it's an actual science. These energies, these feelings, these thoughts, they all put out a certain vibration. And I just wanted to bring that up to show you the dramatic difference. And you have to determine for yourself where you want to be on that scale. Okay. And like I said, there are legitimate ass reasons to be scared or to be afraid. But like I said, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind. I will go ahead, I'll actually tell you guys a story, right? Because I do believe in transparency. So like, growing up, I was always really good at whatever I did, right? There are other reasons for that, but one of the main reasons was because I was taught not to be afraid. And without that restriction of fear, I was literally able to exceed and excel at whatever I put my mind to, because I was not afraid. I wasn't afraid of the outcome, right? I wasn't, like, I used to be a cheerleader. And one of the things that we did as cheerleaders, like, we would learn to tumble. Well, oftentimes, like, the older you get, you don't want to learn how to do the flips and stuff, because now your body is like, okay, this might hurt. I could potentially get hurt, or those elements of fear. Whenever you're younger is when we recommend that you teach your children gymnastics or teach them how to tumble, because they're not afraid. Like, they don't know yet that, there's a risk of this. They just do it. You know what I'm saying? You just do it as a child. So and the reason why I want to share this message with you guys today about fear is because once you take that fearful restriction off of yourself, it can really help you go. It can really help you reach your dreams. I think there's plenty of people in here that could resonate that they have a fear of public speaking, or just like a fear of socializing, a fear of doing certain things. But like, when you take that cap of fear off, baby, the sky is literally the limit. The sky is literally the limit. And like I say, there's other things, that go into play. You have to be motivated. You have to be disciplined, in order to like reach your goals. But I want you to ask yourself, what would you be doing right now if fear wasn't on the table? Like, if fear wasn't a question, what would you be doing right now? And that goes for, are you scared to leave that job? Are you afraid to leave that relationship? What would you be doing right now if fear was not on the table for you? Like, just really think about that when you're feeling, intimidated, and when you think your problems, or you think that these situations are bigger than you. Take fear out of the equation. Take it out completely. And use the scripture that I gave you. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind. And once you come to a certain understanding that you are a unique expression of the Creator, then that fear will start to diminish for you. But you really fighting towards these emotions is not going to do anything but open several doors for you. So if you are here, I challenge each and every one of you to fight back at fear, because fear can literally paralyze you in your steps. Like it can stop you from acting, from speaking. I talked a little bit about that in my last video that I did about how I was personally impacted on my journey from not speaking my truth and not speaking for myself, right? So it's so important that we don't have those. Look, I got my tarot decks right here. But of course, basically, it's important that we don't trap ourselves in the Eight of Swords energy in the tarot system. And when I say that, I mean don't restrict yourself due to like self-limiting beliefs. A lot of times with the Eight of Swords, you'll see the person depicted trapped by swords, and these are their own personal thoughts. These are their own. Yeah, okay, I had to find it. I love this depiction. Look at them. Okay, so this is like the Afro Avatar deck. I don't know if you guys can see it, but like, excuse my nails. I feel like a little boy when my nails ain't done, y'all. I've been busy lately. Nobody got time to go to the nail salon, but trust me, I'm gonna be in there soon, you guys. But this is the Eight of Swords right here. And as you can see in this particular card, in this unique depiction, he is trapped by his own thoughts. We know that the swords is the air suit. He's mentally trapped. And it's a cage that you put there. You don't want to do that to yourself. We know that what happens, mentally can manifest physically for you. And I don't want you all to be paralyzed by fear, unable to move due to your own thoughts, due to your own self-limiting beliefs. Getting rid of fear or fighting against it is a really powerful way to help you move past what it is that you're facing, okay? Because I know fear can be a lot. Afraid to move, afraid to try something different. Let it go. Let it go. We don't want to miss out on job opportunities because we're afraid of the interview. Now, I'm not talking about being nervous. You can be nervous. You can, like I said, you're going to feel it. But are we going to let the fear dictate what we actually do? Like I said, I'm sure Rosa Parks was afraid at some point. I'm sure Barack Obama was like, oh, I'm about to run for president. But they didn't let these feelings stop them from doing what they're doing. I'm gonna quote one of my old people again. Okay. They used to say, or my grandma used to say, there's no sin in falling down, but there's sin in staying there. Now, take out the context of sin, right? Let's maybe use the word shame. There's no shame in falling down, but there's shame in staying there. You can fall down. What's the Christian gospel song? We fall down. I'm just playing. I can't sing, but we fall down, but we get up. We fall down, but we get up. And that's the same. That's the energy I'm talking about right here. We don't want to miss out on divine timing. We don't want to miss out on what's for us because we scared. It is important to remember that fear starts in the mind. Okay. And we know that this can mean working on your root chakra, which is what we're going to be doing in my advanced shadow work mentorship that I'm doing with Priestess Peach Blossom. Working on that root chakra, there comes a point in your life. Like I said, one of the reasons why I was so good at everything when I was younger is because I wasn't afraid. There came a point in my time as an adult where I had to sit down and ask myself, where did that fear come from? I was like, where does it, I asked myself, I said, why am I afraid of that? Right? And so it's like, once we get to the root of it, then we can kind of start to move in the right direction. But there came a point in myself, I was like, okay, so why are you afraid of that? And then I started trying to maneuver to get past what it was that was bothering me. And sure enough, I got past that. So sometimes you really have to sit with yourself, grab a journal or something, and ask yourself, What are you afraid of, and why are you afraid of it? You know, because a lot of the times, what I've found working with people is that sometimes we are afraid of things that can't actually hurt us, or we are afraid of things that we just had no experience of. Like, okay, for example, I uh, used to be afraid of failure. I had to ask myself one day, why are you afraid of failure? What is the actual worst that could happen? So, and one of my priestess friends, you know, she said, what's the worst that could happen to you? That you fail? You fail? But now we have an opportunity. It's only up from here. I'm telling you, take the cap off. Take the boundaries off of yourself. You should bet on yourself every time. And once I was able to remove that fear, it was literally only up. I was even surprising myself with what I was capable of once I removed the fear from my life. I was able to truly whenever you can remove fear, then you can be led by God. You can hear spirit, because you're not restricting yourself due to fear. If there is something that you want to do, if there's a career path, or if you're afraid to go back to school, do it. Do it, right? And understand that if it doesn't work the fuck out, understand that you have more options. Look at this as an opportunity for you to grow. Sometimes we have to re-strategize. Sometimes we get in that 9 of wands. You know, we're a formidable opponent, but we have to look at the situation and determine what our next move is going to be. And that's all that it is. That's all that it is. So next time you get afraid to apply for that promotion at your job, understand that God has not given us the spirit of fear. Understand that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we are all a unique divine expression of the Creator, period. And when you take those limits and those boundaries off of yourself, there is nothing that you cannot do. Okay. Ayanna talks about retraining the brain. It's a very wordy book, but I love it. Y'all know I love Ayanna. I love Ayanna. Okay. But in her book, Get Over It, she does talk about how we can retrain the brain and not letting past experiences with people, places, or things shape our perspective for the rest of our lives. Now, there are obviously lessons that we are going to learn, right? Like, hey, I'm not making that same mistake again. And that's the beauty of life. I think we talked a little bit last week about being the fool, but that's the beauty of life. We've all, like I said, like priestess people, I said, we've all been the fool at some point. But that is also one of the beautiful things about our spiritual practices. And one of the things that I am very passionate about is that I learn something every day. Every day. Every day I learn something. And that is a gift, to be able to learn every day. And understand that we're never going to know everything. Everything. But that is one of the beautiful things, is if you fall, you can always get back up. And I challenge everybody here to do that. Don't get stuck where you are, okay? And I also want to give you, because this is Hoodoo Bible study, I'm going to give you some scriptures that I want you all to, if you are somebody who is struggling with anxiety and with being fearful of just, first of all, there are other things, right? Because I like to say it's not exhaustive. This information is just that can be used in conjunction with traditional therapy or help or whatever it is that you feel like you need. So take advantage of all the resources, right? But I'm going to give you a couple of very powerful, life-changing scriptures that I've used in my family for generations, y'all. Generations. My great grandma used these as well. and I'm sure her grandma before her. These are tried and true. They could pass the test of time, that you can use in your hoodoo practices to not only banish fear, but you can use these protection. You can use these for confidence, all that. Use these in your root chakra work to help you feel more grounded, okay? So the very first one, and I'm sorry if I go fast, but you know, the replay is going to be on YouTube. But the very first one is going to be Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, 54 and 17, I believe. But this one is, no weapon formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Okay. You can use this whenever you're protecting your home, protecting your personal being. You can enchant items with this. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. That's also another thing that you can say to yourself whenever you're afraid that, I don't know, this person don't like me. Well, you know, we don't care, but you know what I'm saying? You know, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, period. Okay. And every tongue that you can use that script, look, spirit speaking, you can use this scripture to silence somebody. Okay, speak spirit. And every tongue that rises against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn it. Okay. I heard one man say, shut a nigga up. Oh, I'm gonna write that down. Bet. Okay, so no weapon formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. You can stop gossip. And then, of course, there is the wonderful Psalms 23, verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Okay? So whenever I hear this one, and now as I'm rereading it, this can also talk, well, so first of all, it says, I will fear no evil, right? There is no reason to be afraid. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, all this stuff is happening around you, but you can't be touched. The Bible also says, I didn't even write this one down, touch not my anointed ones. Touch not my anointed ones. But sorry, back. See, spirit's moving. But the Bible also says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And the rod and the staff can be a number of things, but we know that we have our spirit guides, we have our ancestors, we have an amazing team. We have, in my case, the Loa, you know, they comfort me. And this one was, okay, so that was Psalms 23 and 4. And this one was also one of my grandma's favorite scriptures. If God is for us, who can be against us? There's also another translation of that is, if God is for me, who can be against me? Period. Use that in some protection work. Light a black candle. Put that scripture on there. Also, like I said, use Psalms 23 and 4 for protection. If God is for me, who can be against me? And you have to know, like you know sometimes, right? You know, sometimes I see people scared of people throwing juju at them. Like, no, don't be afraid. If God is for me, who can be against me? Tell yourself that as well. Also want to tell you all reasons why you shouldn't be afraid. You shouldn't let people or life intimidate you, because I want you to remember that you are bigger than, and the ancestors have told me this several times. I think I did a reading for one of Priestess Peach Blossom services recently, and it was a message for the collective, you know, and the ancestors were basically saying that we're bigger than the things that we think are going to stop us. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that song, but Never Would Have Made It. But you did. You did. Have you ever looked back through those situations? This is also one of the reasons why having a journal is so important, you all, because it's a reminder of what you've been through. You may not be where you're at, but you're further than where you were. So you also have to remember that you're bigger than these issues. You are bigger than these circumstances. You are bigger than what you're experiencing. You're bigger than the fear. God is bigger than the fear. And your ancestors are bigger than the fear. Ori is bigger than your fear. Another one of my favorite scriptures is greater is he that, this is also, like I said, this one came straight from my great great granny. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. And by he, I mean God, or whoever that is for you. Because we all, like I say all the time, are that unique expression, and we all have that same connection to God through our breath, right? So remember that greater is he, greater is God that is in you than he that is in the world. So this is why I also say letting go of fear takes the limits off, right? And I already told you how I was able to do that for myself and not limit myself. Okay. In terms of also incorporating all of this information into your hoodoo practices, you all, be like our elders, be like those old folks that you see walking through their homes, casting out fear, telling this energy or this vibration that, you know, it has no place here in our homes. Tell fear, speak to fear as if it's a real thing. Tell fear that it has no place in your home. And I think you know me by now. I'm a agrimony all to death. Get some agrimony. Add it to some of your work, you know, because agrimony is great for banishing things. Banish up fear. You can also use rosemary too. You know, rosemary, as we always say, is like the white candle, but it's also ruled by the root chakra too. So rosemary is also a really good herb. Great herb. To use in your root chakra workings, but get some agrimony and banish fear. Okay. And then also let me just speak more also from like a logical standpoint, is that sometimes you can overcome your fears simply by facing them. Write the speech, go on the trip, skydive, learn something new, whatever it is for you, do it, right? So if you, like I said, you know, I gave examples earlier. If there's something specifically that you're afraid of, one of the ways that you can get over it is just by ripping that band-aid off and doing it. I know a lot of people probably won't relate, but I have a friend and her son is afraid to drive, and I'm like, you're never gonna learn if you don't do it. So you have to just I had a family member, and I know some of my family members are here in the comments, so I won't say the name, but I had a family member who was afraid to drive on the highway. I had a family member who was afraid to drive on the highway, and it wasn't until she started getting on there that she got over her fear. And, you know, so like I will say, sometimes the only way to get over these fears is just to simply by doing them. And pray, ask God, ask your ancestors for help. Ask for assistance, okay? Command your life to be how you want it to be, okay? And that is my Hoodoo Bible study for tonight, okay? We coming for fear. All the rest of the year, we're coming for fear all next year. But I definitely hope that word resonated with you. As always, you all can leave love offerings in the Cash app if that resonated with you all. And if you're really interested in trying to target fear, come on to the Chakra Alignment Mentorship Program. There's only about 2 days left to sign up, though. We start on Monday, and that's also the day that your deposit is due. So if you're wanting to, you know, if you're serious about that and going through that alignment process and learning from myself and Queen Priestess Peach Blossom, come to that mentorship. You can that's also if you really like it, that's the first stepping stone to signing up to her traditional mentorship program too. So I really encourage you all to do that. I put my link tree in the description. I think I put it in the description too. So if you want to connect with me on social media, my social media profiles is listed there. The name of my business website is there. If you're in need of crystals, body oils, things of that nature, feel free to visit that website. And then, as always, readings, consultations, private tutoring. I am available at the Voodoo Institute, so definitely get on my calendar. I'll be having a sale coming up soon, so that'd be a good time to book. Okay, so you all be blessed. And tonight, I'm going to quote Janet Jackson from my one of my favorite Tyler Perry movies. She said, one of the greatest, I think it was honors of any human being is to love God, yourself, and others. So I challenge all of you all tonight to go out there, love yourself, love God, and love others. But other than that, you all have a wonderful night. Thank you all for coming.